last time on Renascence, having discovered the new gatekeeper, Sister Comac, and attempted to parlay, uh, the party was thrown under the proverbial bus by an invisible anticotum, who seemed eager to start a fight. Determined not to be manipulated by the former gatekeeper, the party pleaded with Comac, explaining how Cotum wished to supplant her. Swayed by their argument, Comac turned on the invisible Cotum, who fled the Twisted Garden in fear as the battle quickly turned against her. In the aftermath, Comac agreed to hear the party out and invited them into her home. There, seated at a long table in a dark chamber before a towering, barred gateway, the party explained their errand and slowly came to learn Comac's story. Together with Cotum, she had come to the actual gatekeeper, seeking to form a coven for power, but being denied, made use of a powerful spell they acquired from a kind stranger to imprison the gatekeeper and take her place. However, despite being their prisoner, the pair had failed to acquire the power they sought, and so began to harry the people of Gladham for a youth that they could convert into one of their own. Comac eventually offered the party a deal. If she were to assist Barnaby with his situation regarding the Feywild, they would then part ways, never to cross paths again. The party weighed their options, doubting she could be trusted, but leery of starting a fight at Adlar's behest. When it came down to making the decision, however, Burberry blessed Adlar with a spell of protection, and sensing the mood in the room shift, the party dove for the false gatekeeper. The fight was a nasty one, but by the end of it, Comac was subdued and captured, and the party had taken possession of the gatekeeper's prison. Determined to press Comac for the means to free her, they set up camp in the garden outside and waited for the hag to regain consciousness. So, picking up here, the party concludes their rest and keeps their watch. Are there any questions before we begin?
I have one, as always.
For sure.
You said last time that the denizens of the woods were kind of crowding the external area of the garden, like watching us now. Is that correct?
They were kind of keeping a vigil around the perimeter.
Did they see... I guess we want to get started proper, like... Does it seem like they're ready to attack? Like, are they wanting to jump us if we try and do anything to this lady? Or are they just like, oh, a show?
I'd say give me a perception check.
Okay, that's fair.
Or an insight check, either one.
I feel like the more appropriate one would be a vibe check.
There does need to be a vibe stat.
I mean, that is basically insight, right?
What's your passive vibe? Insight or perception. I guess they're the exact same. All right.
Cool.
19 total.
I feel like bards would have high vibe.
19 total.
Yeah.
Barnaby's got what?
I feel like bards would have high passive vibe.
Barnaby has high
Bards.
Oh, bards. Yeah. So on a 19, you guys hauled Comac out, unconscious, bound, and have basically set her down at the mouth of this cave and set up your little camp in your perimeter. And very shortly after emerging back into the garden, you began to notice these shapes in the mist just outside the stone ring. And watching them, they don't seem to be making any moves. They don't seem to be approaching. They don't seem to be mustering any sort of force that you can see. There's no weapons drawn. There's no tension in the air here. And over the course of the next couple of hours, you just kind of watch as this loose crowd just sort of ebbs and flows as onlookers sort of step up from the forest and later recede back. There's a constant presence out there, but the observers do seem to be sort of changing over time as individuals come and go. They are definitely interested in your party and your presence here. They are attentive. There is a pretty sizable number of observers. Easily 100 faces or more at any given time, looking all around the exterior of this stone circle. But they seem
Pretty
hesitant to
passive
approach.
at the moment.
Yeah, they seem passive, and they seem as though they are almost waiting for whatever comes next.
Yeah, my main concern when you mentioned that last time was they're gonna be like, they're killing the gatekeeper, get him! And then just fucking jump us 100 to 5.
Would I do that?
I mean, could we ask if any of them know how to release the gatekeeper?
What was that, Clark?
I said, could we ask if any of them know how to release the gatekeeper?
Barnaby could.
I suppose I could do that.
Okay. So, how do you want to approach this, Barnaby?
Draw the gun.
Good question.
You guys are seated at the mouth of this this cave, the center of the Twisted Garden, over which grows the enormous mangrove tree, visible even from the encircling mountain ridge. Around you stands the stone circle, and just outside at the edge of the jungle, and amidst all that greenery, are the many, many faces of the local fae, come to see what becomes of their current master. Looking out at them, what do you want to do?
Hey, y'all folk. I'm gonna say in Fae, because I do speak it.
Sure, just kind of calling out at random, or are you going to direct this at any one person in particular? Like you just
Kind of calling out.
Okay. I will say there's not an answer. There's no reply from anywhere. But you do hear there is a faint sort of tremor in the brush around you. Very faintly audible over the sound of the trickling water. Just there's a stir. They do react. But they do not respond.
So, we found original gatekeeper in this there thing here. And y'all got a good idea how to get her on out?
Okay. Go ahead and give me a persuasion check.
Oh, I'm just great at those. I got a +1.
It helps that you're real friendly.
That is a 15. 14 plus 1.
15. Not bad. I'd say maybe I don't know that Barnaby would necessarily hear it, but I think Noel and Aloran would pick up that there is now some very faint, distant conversation happening amongst the onlookers outside the stone circle. You can hear these voices speaking in a strange tongue.
Whatever you're doing,
There does seem to
Barnaby,
be
it got them
multiple
talking.
discussions happening. Yeah, happening around you.
I hope it's good talk, not the bad kind of talk.
And not quite directly in front of you, as that's where the kind of the stone road sort of stretches out into the jungle that you came in on. But sort of in front, off to the left, you kind of catch sight of this pair of little dark-skinned boggles, sort of bickering at the feet of one of these cloaked, gray-skinned darklings, who's also, it seems, almost trying to restrain them, before one of them sort of pulls away from the other two, one of the boggles, and just kind of splashes forward into the shallow waters of the garden, and is suddenly aware of how very exposed he is, and almost shrinks in place, like clutching his hands, his little yellow eyes like just darting around at all 6 of you sitting around the unconscious Comac. Just barely squeaks out.
You're going to free the old miss.
Harvey just kneels down. Well, we'd like to, but just kind of stuck. Stuck worse than when my brother got his head stuck in between the fence posts. That was a dark day.
He died.
He did.
We just couldn't
We
get him
couldn't
out.
save him.
But the Crocs could. The little boggle will splash a couple steps closer to you as you kneel down, kind of still wringing his hands, and he will kind of nervously begin to speak again.
She did something to her. Made her disappear. Did a whole lot of laughing and cackling and swearing. After the fact, she's very, very pleased with herself.
Sounds like most spellcaster folk. I'm
He'll
saying this in Fey, so they can't understand.
Nobody can hear you. Sure. He kind of glances over your knee at the unconscious, crumpled hag behind you.
Is she dead?
She's on the line, but we're going to keep her that way just in case we need her later. Because, like I was saying, we found the other one where she is, but can't get her out. Think you might know something? Or someone?
I don't know what she did, but she was very pleased. Seemed to think she'd have the gatekeeper forever after what she did. Do you know magic, Mr. Redman?
I know my magic around the kitchen, but that's about it.
If you don't know how to break a spell like this, I don't know that the gatekeeper will ever be free. She seemed very powerful when she took her down. It's very scary.
Being scary is all you gotta be, then we've got a group who can do that, but I don't think that's gonna get her out. You know someone who might know how to figure this stuff out? You know anybody else knows the magic stuff?
The gatekeeper, maybe.
Figured we might have to talk with her like that, but was hoping for someone with a little better attitude.
Can you speak with her?
He seems actually surprised by this information. The eyes kind of go wide, and the expression on his face just kind of freezes in place.
Can you speak to the gatekeeper?
Well, one of us can, I think.
Either that or I'm a very convincing liar.
They use the whole hoity-toity finger waving kind of stuff, and they're able to do that.
The old miss was very wise, very powerful. She might know if you can reach her.
Guess that's the only real option we got right now.
He kind of glances over his shoulder, looks over at the surrounding observers.
I think everyone's curious how this is going to end, Mr. Redman.
Yeah, me too.
Do you
I
think
hope for the better.
Do you think it's safe for us to stay?
Right now, I don't know if we're gonna have to wake up the other one, so I'd say for the best, leave us be for a bit.
He kind of just nervously nods, his eyes like still kind of like flitting between you and the crumpled hag before he
Says, well, good luck to you, sir.
and splashes back out of the garden towards his compatriots, and you see them begin to kind of discuss this new conversation between themselves before actually starting to spread out among some of the surrounding clusters of folk and begin sort of spreading the word. And over the next 10, 15 minutes, you watch as a handful of individuals sort of fall back from watching. There are still, however, a decent number of observers who seem far more curious than they are afraid of what comes next.
Barnaby's gonna get up and scrape whatever got on his knee pads. He says, "Well, that was a lot of bunk. About all I got. They don't know Jack. Other than if you can talk to the lady there, that's going to be your best bet. Original gatekeeper. Said she might know something."
Well, at the very least, we do have something she very much wants.
It's true.
What is our plan exactly here? Did we still want to try and interrogate this one?
I personally believe it's our best option, but
Interrogate.
perhaps not.
Maybe charm her a little bit.
I have a little bit of magic left, but then I am out for the day.
I can still cast Zone of Truth. Although that doesn't stop her from just not saying anything, but it does stop her lying.
That
That
could
might
be
be
helpful.
handy.
Adlar, did you still feel this one needs to die? For sure.
Last session we offered the option of something that might be worse than death.
That is my first instinct in this matter, yes. He'll reply after a moment. I think if this one can be properly brought to justice in some other matter that you have access to, I am not opposed to the possibility. But if it were just up to me, I would put her down sooner than later.
We can always get the info we want and then take her out. You know, give her a promise like, "Hey, we're going to free you," and then plow once we're done.
I'm certainly not opposed to this.
Well, if we do that, I certainly shouldn't cast Zone of Truth.
Or at least just have one of us not be in it.
Yeah. It's kind of dark, but she is pretty evil, so maybe it's justified here. We can't tell her we're gonna kill her, or we have no leverage.
If she's what I think she is, I would not trust this creature to wander the wilds. There are many stories of her kinds. None of them end well. They are
Well, I am
tempters.
fairly certain the current gatekeeper, what did she say? Something about, if she could find a way to make her have an equal issue that she put her through, then that is what she would do. But if she can't, death for her. Death for her 100 times over.
Well, technically, we don't have to lie. We could just say that. We could say that the gatekeeper will decide what to do with her.
Honestly, I like the idea of just saying we'll give her a 5-minute head start.
Do like that, yeah.
The fact that she can go invisible makes me not want to do that, but...
Yeah, who knows what else hocus pocus she's got him under them fingers.
Under the fingers? It's an interesting place to put things. Oh,
Well, where else does the magic come out of?
Do you actually want the answer to that?
If it's not under the fingers, no.
So you're saying you just want me to say what you want to happen,
Yep,
and if you're wrong to not say anything,
you got it.
then I won't say anything.
All right. Glad we're in agreement.
We are not, but okay.
Well, it sounds like Zone of Truth is the plan right now.
Don't cast Zone of Truth until after we tell her that we're gonna keep her alive.
Well, we can just stand outside of it if we intend to tell her that.
Whereas I would like to cast it while she's still unconscious.
Okay, if we're gonna interrogate this lady, are we, like, gonna torture her? Like, what's the game plan? Do we have, like, good
I think our best bet
bad
would
card?
be intimidation, probably. Just tell her that if she makes a wrong step, it's the end. And there's only one way out of this, and it's the original gatekeeper's judgment.
Give her 3 strikes and you're out kind of thing.
1 strike.
1 strike.
I
That's a
think
rough
it'd become
game.
more effective to say every time you do something wrong, we'll break an appendage.
That's a bit too extreme.
I mean, if you say one and done, then all she has to do is just do something wrong and then she didn't answer us. And we got nothing.
I guess that's true.
I feel like with interrogation and how unwilling she was to talk to us at the beginning, I feel like we might have to go to extreme measures. And Adlar, here's your time to shine, buddy. You know, you hate the bitch. You can tell
I am
me.
not looking to become one. I should prefer to do it with a single arrow and be done with the matter.
Okay.
However,
There goes my plan.
I am not above threatening.
How would you feel about threatening for every time she pulls us around, she gets an extra minute alone with you? Tied up. By herself.
Sounds strange.
That sounds a little sexual.
That sounds like something she would be into.
No, I meant like 6 seconds in which you might knock an arrow. No innuendo intended.
It's still happening.
I am sorry. Okay, listen.
Just tell Adlar to fuck the old hag, man.
Are we at all confident if we bring the crystal back to the village that somebody there might know how to fix it?
I have absolutely, positively zero confidence in
I
that.
doubt that heavily.
I'm just trying to find like some kind of backup plan. Because it's sounding like getting the truth from her is probably not going to be easy.
think truthfully,
Can we also ask her what happened to the gate watch? Because the two members, disappeared.
oh yeah. I don't know if that's the highest priority, but that's a good one to remember.
Yeah.
If we get her talking, I think we should throw it out then. Otherwise, not in too much of a hurry.
Yeah.
I wonder if the gate watch would know how to break the spell.
That's quite a bit of ways to get to find the answer is no.
I cannot say that I am terribly familiar with the watch. At least those agents that were stationed here on the island. They kept mostly to themselves. Although they did broker with outsiders, sailors, and the like from time to time.
They do have powerful members, but this maybe is above them, at least the ones we know.
What did the little one tell you, Vanity? Anything of use?
Barnaby?
What?
Barnaby has had a bit of a connection issue there. You got the little unplugged sign floating over his head for a second.
Just got like a finger in his ear. What?
Huh?
You want me to what?
Did the little one tell you anything useful?
Mostly that she's pretty powerful. The original gatekeeper. And, yeah, he didn't really know much, I'll be honest.
Hmm.
And that, he really knew that the old lady liked to laugh and cackle a lot about the evil spell that she cast. She was real happy to have the gatekeeper captured in there. Don't really think that was valuable information, though. Yeah, it's me.
Perhaps we could get the gatekeeper's account of this encounter, if you can reach her.
Don't believe that she knows, unless somehow she has extra knowledge that she didn't have last week.
What did we ask her last time?
We
An
asked
hour
her
ago.
If she knew the conditions, and she did not.
You asked her what? What did you ask?
We asked her what the conditions were for her release, and she didn't know. At least as far as I remember.
I thought that...
to my memory, I don't know that you ever asked her that specific question. I think you asked...
we asked her how it would be possible to release her, and she said, there were specific conditions.
Yeah, I thought that she was the only one who knew it.
The follow-up question would be immediately, what were those conditions? No.
I mean, we could try. We're just standing here.
Unless some otherworldly god. Palettes, is there more that I should know here?
The useful information she kind of gave us, that we found was the gate breaker was the one that gave her the spell.
The breaker gate. The last notes I have was the crystal spell ends on a condition. We don't know the condition. The breaker gates from the card in the hag's lair. That's it. So I'll take out the crystal if you want to try talking to her and seeing if she knows anything else before we wake up the hag.
Or what would you like me to ask?
If she knows anything about the condition to break the spell, or maybe what the magic was.
I will ask the question to the crystal. Don't even need to pull it out.
Oh, okay. I'll put it back.
All right. As before, the very faint, pained reply eventually comes through. The spell was strange to my ears. forevermore. To the end of her days.
Ooh, I just thought of one more question. Does the original gatekeeper remember making any deals with this creature?
Presumably Barbary asks, and the response that you receive will be, I agreed to no bargains or pacts with these wretches.
Alright, well, that makes it simple.
Question is, does she know anything about the Gatebreaker?
That is difficult to answer. You get the sense, Burberry, that there's very likely something she could share, but it is not the sort of conversation that could be easily parsed over the course of
mid-torture
even repeated messages. Yeah.
No,
long time ago.
The good news is that she probably knows the answer. The bad news
Free
is
me and you receive your lordom, party.
we don't have until the end of time.
We don't have dispelled magic.
If the only... Oh, I hate to sound like I'm second-guessing myself, but that seems to be what I'm doing at the moment, thanks. So if she says that she's basically going to be her prisoner until the end of her days, maybe that's the condition.
That's kind of what I thought.
That's a good thought.
I'm okay with this. Adlar will pull an arrow out.
Oh, Adlar. Out of character.
Watch him roll a 1.
I was gonna say, out of character, now that she's
Miss.
stationary, he might actually be able to hit something.
Everything's been invisible. Shut up. Or just
Oh, I know.
Stop bullying my poor ranger.
Trying!
He's trying.
Poor Adlar. I think the thought of killing her being the thing that breaks the curse is pretty logical, actually. But that's a big gamble. If we just kill her now without asking any questions. But I guess I don't even know what we'd ask at this point. Beyond just, do you know what the condition is?
Could try the conditions, and if she's not helpful, we kill her.
I think that's where we're at.
I think we tried.
Or you could ask her all you want to ask, and then when she stops being helpful, we kill her. I see no downsides.
I think we should have Adlar, Barnaby, and John at the ready to kill her if she tries to do anything. If she acts out of line, tries to turn invisible again or something.
Do we want the marksman at a distance, or do we want everyone close up?
I think one person away might be useful on the case she has any area of attacks.
He'll shoot you a look, Barnaby. You and me.
What? Pull the trigger or be intimidating like?
Yes. That is the question.
I'll be honest, I don't think I'm that intimidating.
You are very tall. But you do not have perhaps the demeanor.
I don't got the spark like John does.
Y'all kind of glance over at John. his hair just kind of sparkles in the sun-dappled light of the jungle.
I'm just sitting there, flexing my muscles, keeping warm.
It's very warm in this jungle. Don't you worry about that. Yeah, cool. How do you guys want to go about this?
Okay. It sounds like we're doing this. So my thinking was Burberry wants to do Zone of Truth, as far as I remember. I can assist with that. I have one more use of cutting words, which can deduct my Bardic Inspiration dice from the next saving throw against the Zone of Truth. But we'll have to wait till she's actually, like, rousing, because she has to be able to hear me. As far as, I assume, Lauren, since you have decent charisma too, we could all be sort of the intimidation squad, then?
I don't have high intimidation, I'm more persuasive.
I mean, that's
Is
not...
she able to resist the Zone of Truth if she's unconscious?
Yeah, you still get saving throws against stuff
Yeah.
when you're unconscious.
Really?
Yeah, the main reason I want to do it while she's still unconscious is that way whenever she wakes up, she might not be aware that it's up.
I think you automatically fail either strength or dex, maybe both when you're unconscious. But automatically, yeah, you automatically fail both of those, but you don't have any effect from other types of saving throws.
If I remember Zone of Truth, you're aware of it whether you fail or succeed, aren't you?
Look it up.
I could be wrong. I don't remember.
Creature enters the spell for the first time or starts there, makes a charisma save. On a failed save, they can't speak a deliberate lie. An affected creature is aware of the spell and can thus avoid answering questions which would normally respond with a lie. Such creatures can be evasive in its answers as long as it remains within the boundaries of the truth.
So an affected creature, no matter what, is going to be aware. An unaffected creature would not.
Touché.
I feel as if you felt a supernatural impulse barring you from lying, you would probably be cognizant of that fact, that you could no longer lie.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on what lore you're using, but you're the DM, so we're using your lore.
Well, I don't know if you'd be able to say, oh, that's a Zone of Truth spell. You would just know, like, oh, I can't fucking lie right now. Shit. That's inconvenient. What's causing that? Something,
Well,
clearly.
like I would get that if, like, you said, have you ever... Never mind, it's a long-winded thing.
I would assume it would be like if you try to speak a lie, you physically can't, so you would therefore be aware that you're unable to tell a lie.
Yeah, that was my interpretation.
It's like Liar Liar starring Jim Carrey.
So, cannot speak a deliberate lie within the radius. Yeah. So there'd be a lot of it.
A lot of mugging for the camera.
Yeah.
Are we... So it sounds like it doesn't really matter, and I assume cutting words would be helpful just to help push the saving throw down.
Through. Yeah.
So I think
As I recall, you guys did melt through her legendary save.
Yes, we did do
combat.
that.
So she is
Potentially
at your
susceptible.
mercy.
Alright, so we'll have Adlar a little bit out, Barnaby nearby, and John close at hand to act at a moment's notice if she starts to get...
John close at hand to be tall.
Yes.
Big and strong. Cool. Adlar is going to, at that instruction, probably clamber over some of the roots of this gigantic tree that is growing over the cave and sort of tuck himself kind of up against the trunk, probably like 15 feet above you guys and a good like 20, 30 feet back, and just kind of like sink into the brush. And as you watch him do this and finally sort of settle into his chosen position, it is remarkable how very quickly he just sort of fades into the background to the point that you feel as though if you looked away, you might actually lose track of him. He seems like he's very well hidden at this point.
Okay.
We've discovered his skill set.
He's sneaky. So, the party is in position. Burberry, the spell is yours to cast as you will, and the hag is yours to rouse as she is nearing her return to consciousness. So,
I will be the
No
one
truth
to rouse
and-
her.
okay. So Noelle,
And I will say,
moving towards the hag.
as my cutting words, I'll say, you could very well have 10 minutes left to live. Choose your words wisely.
What? And you hear this haggard breathing, this the blood spray onto the dirt in front of her. She sort of begins to lift her head, the lank hair slowly pulling up off the ground, the eye kind of like frantically blinking and kind of darting around, trying to focus, and eventually catching your eye, Noelle, looking directly back at you.
Zone of truth coming right up.
I'm not
Ooh.
dead yet.
I rolled a 5.
Ooh, so that's 5 off of her save.
Her wisdom save, yep.
Charisma.
Oh, charisma, sorry.
It is, yeah, it is Zone of Truth. Yeah, that's definitely gonna do it. Her grand total is a -2.
Oh god!
So good job, Noelle. Fucking.
She really
love
has
that
to tell
shit
the
in her
truth.
face. Yeah, as Burberry, you incant and draw the bounds of a zone of absolute truth. The hag kind of shakes her head, still breathing raggedly. Well, I am at your mercy. What is it you wish of me? There is a bloody grin that starts to spread across her face as she continues to lock eyes with you, Noelle.
How do we free the old gatekeeper? What is the condition?
If you free the gatekeeper, I'm probably not long for this world. I'm not sure that I have much incentive to help you in this matter. Not as of yet.
I'll gesture to John and Barnaby, and I'll say, at some point, it's likely they are going to kill you. But the gatekeeper may not be as cruel as we are.
Give me an intimidation check.
22 total.
Oh, you didn't know well.
Damn. This eldritch being hunkered on the ground, bound in rope, unblinkingly staring up at you through her lank hair, and you are expressionless and cold. You meet her gaze without blinking, without the slightest waver in your voice, and you see at the very corner of her mouth this almost imperceptible falter in her smile. The very faintest hint of a wince as the eyes almost involuntarily start to blink. She holds her gaze, but you can tell that thread connected.
So I would start talking.
If the gatekeeper is released, she says, I am quite certain I will likely meet the fate that I've bestowed upon her. She will you to John, to Barnaby. I am at your mercy, stranger. I will beg of you an assurance. All I ask. A guarantee that I will survive. Promise me this, and I will give you what you ask.
I don't think you understand the situation. This is not a negotiation. You're going to tell us, or you're going to die.
Why are we dying?
I said you are going to die.
I thought you said we. I was like, wait, why are we dying?
You tell us or we die.
Yeah. Oh, no, wait, no, I got that backwards, sorry. Oh, jeez, I'm really bad at this.
No, it's fine. You couldn't have
This
said
is
that
that
anyway.
one, Noel.
I was really confused because you said that like you meant it. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, she hears that. And she swallows. Then it sounds as though I am doomed either way.
Can I take my glaive and put the blade over her foot?
Lauren's going to interject and be like,
Okay.
maybe if you are willing to help us, we might give you a head start.
Give me a persuasion check. That was inaudible. Did not hear that.
I'm using my inspiration.
Gotcha. Okay.
Oh, hell yeah, I got a natural 20.
This motherfucker.
Sweet.
So that is a 24.
Okay. So, Aloran stepping in as the good guard. Comac will immediately switch her attention directly to you. These wide, piercing eyes staring up at you through the lank hair. This beseeching expression on her face. I will give you whatever you ask as long as I can survive this. That is all I need from you, please. I beg of you.
I can't make that promise. But
If I die, your gatekeeper may not be able to help you like I can.
Now what I'm seeing is you're not helping us. And I'm getting bored.
Also, you seem to think that you're the only option we have. You're just the most expedient option we have.
If that's so, then kill me.
I'd rather have more fun than I stab the glaive through her foot.
Oh, shit.
She
Okay,
only
roll the
has
hit.
1 hit point.
She only has 1 hit point.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, yeah, no, she came back to 1 hit point. You guys left her unconscious, and she is now woken up. Still just as injured as she was a couple hours
Is there a
ago.
way to do this without causing her to go unconscious?
No.
Just stab next to
Right.
her.
Can I stab it right
if you
between her
go-
toes instead?
If you go from 1 hit point to 0, you are unconscious.
Can I go in between her toes instead then?
You just want to stab her in the webbing of her toes?
like
No,
right in between the toes, not hurting her at all, but just like
Okay.
like sending
Okay.
you
So
Intimidate.
adjusting to an intimidation check. Okay, sure. Yeah, give me another intimidation check.
just like millimeters from her flesh. I think I'm good at intimidation, aren't I? Or is
Yeah,
that only when I'm raging?
no, that's intimidation.
That is a 21.
Woo. There's this frightened yelp as you sink the glaive into the ground, just shy of her foot. It recoils instinctively, and she frantically looks from one face to another at this point. I can help you, but I need an assurance. Please. I am doomed otherwise. This is clear enough. You've made that quite clear. Noel, I'd say give me an insight check at this point as you are scrutinizing this one.
17 total.
17. Okay. Watching this reaction to her, she is very clearly cowed and unwilling to fight back. Like, that will is gone from her. She is frightened for her life. She comes across as completely convinced that without some assurance, she is going to die one way or another here.
I'll get close
That
again.
seems to be the primary obstacle to her saying anything more.
Fine. A head start. That is our offer. Give us that info we need, the gatekeeper's condition to be released, and you get your head start.
How much?
How much of a head start?
A minute.
Out of character, how much do we need for a long rest?
And a long rest is 8 hours.
Also, I'm
Let's do it for 8 hours.
Noel's just like, we're also lying. Shut the fuck up.
Don't blow this.
No, this is out of character, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
She says 1 minute, I'll say 30 seconds.
45. $40.
Got Noel, what do you think? 30? 30, yeah.
I'm supposed to be the bad cop, so I would just say any amount of time is too gracious. I will let my friend decide. I look to Alorn.
Yeah, 30. The hag's reaction to this is just to be like, fine, 30, acceptable. 30 seconds head start in exchange for the release of your gatekeeper. Do we have an accord? She is staring intensely at you, Noel.
Guys, on a scale of 1 to 10, how petty should I be?
I heard that first one.
What happened?
I'm gonna message Adlar and say we are promising her a 30-second head start. We did not promise her that we would not interfere with her head start.
You will receive a reply. I am not making any promises. I'm not part of this conversation. Burberry, I will say, as I ask you to roll this sleight of hand check to sort of conceal your spell casting, you would swear, and you're certain it's just a trick of the imagination, because there's no fucking way you could hear it from this distance, but you would swear you could hear a bowstring stretching.
That's a 20.
20? Okay, yeah, no worries. Comac is just so intensely focused on this offer that is being floated by Aloran and Noelle, and she is completely zeroed in on Noelle right now, waiting for that response.
I'm trying to think of how to word this.
What are you trying to say?
Yes, but fuck you, no.
The problem is, we don't know what the penalty is for breaking these agreements. And I feel like there's no way to word this where I don't break it.
Again, what are you trying to say? Because, like, we could agree to give her a 30-second head start and not untie her.
You just stand her up, get in her face, run.
Hop!
Like, it's all like, it's wording. It's
And I also will say, we never said when we would release her either. So we could release her after we release the gatekeeper, and it's like, alright, hey gatekeeper, she got 30 seconds. I bet you're real pumped up and ready to go.
with your full spell list.
Yeah. She got like 1 health point. You're good, man.
The gatekeeper casts Spirit Bomb on the fucking garden.
She say, like, our group? What was, like, specifically what she said when she was like, I have an accord? We have an accord?
I believe my exact words were the release of your gatekeeper in exchange for 30 seconds head start.
Big enough. If you're only agreeing that...
God, I feel like I'm just stalling at this point. Do I just say yes? Am I just saying yes to this? Is that
I mean,
what we're at?
technically, if you think about it, promising her 30 seconds from us, we're just giving her the 30 seconds. Gatekeeper could give her not 30 seconds. You know?
Exactly. We also never said when we will unbind her and give her 30 seconds.
Yeah,
So we
so
can
like,
literally
I know that you were trying to think of a wording for something, but like, we can't help you if we don't know what you're trying to say.
I'm just trying to find a way to make it non-committal, and I don't think it's possible.
She is quite literally asking for a commitment, so that is fair. You just tell her, I'll think about it.
And Adlar is right. He promised nothing. Assuming he can hit her.
Alright, I'll just say... When you are no longer of any use to us, you will have your 30 seconds.
And when will that be?
Do we have an accord? Could I get an exact minute time countdown?
You're a very cruel girl.
I'm actually quite nice if you get to know me.
And confess.
I've known many cruel people who said the same thing. There's definitely a pause for consideration and a weighing of options. You can see the gears turning behind the piercing eyes. If my use to you is securing the release of your gatekeeper, then yes, we do have an accord.
Then why don't you tell us?
She is begrudging. You can see the urge to fight starting to rear. But she steels herself. She meets your gaze once more and begins to speak. When I was granted the spell by my benefactor, they told me that to finish the incantation required that I specify a means by which the spell could be ended. Broken, should I so choose. So, I bade that my sister and I, should we agree, could release the gatekeeper. She kind of gives a wide smile. My sister's long gone from here now, I'm sure. How do you plan to get her out now?
To clarify, the two hags have to agree to let her go.
Correct.
And she is still in Zone of Truth, so...
This conversation clearly transpired as per the rules of this Zone of Truth.
Well, shit, guys. That's complicated.
Yeah, Burberry, I think, given where your focus has been during this conversation, you do notice the very faint glint of an arrowhead poking out of the brush
By logic dictating, uh, would her saying this now count as her thinking that the gatekeeper should be released? If that makes sense.
I'd say give me an Arcana check.
Because if
Because
it
that
does,
that is a good question, and that is some high level magic
shenanigans.
theory. Yeah.
So you said Arcana, so that
Yep.
would be a 22.
22. Goddamn Burberry. Yeah, you think back to your studies with the Conclave. There was a decent amount of actual arcane study that took place during your education, on top of, you know, the immense amount of history and religious texts and practices that were covered. And you recall a lesson concerning, you know, powerful, ancient, you know, intricate magic, which the more and more you guys sort of dance around this spell, the more you start to get the sense of, like, this is big. This is a big fucking play that this lady made. Where the fuck did she get this fucking scroll from? And to your recollection, the opinion from the magical community, the arcane academic circles, is kind of split on this matter. There are some who would argue that there needs to be an explicit utterance of intent for magic of this sort to take effect. There are others who say, based off of lots of anecdotal evidence and accounts, that that is not necessarily true, especially when you look at, you know, the magic of extraplanar beings, where intent is muddied by far more powerful and more mysterious forces that sort of weave their way through their magical practices. And it's possible that in this case, you might actually have her consent already, as she has sort of tacitly agreed that the gatekeeper should be freed, considering that she has given you this information at all. And with that 22, right, I think that you feel as though there's a good chance that, while maybe not true from, say, a mortal arcanist, perspective, had they cast the spell, you think that with this hag, perhaps, in the way that this fey power seems to manifest itself, that there's a good chance that she may already be bound by the strictures of the spell, without perhaps realizing it even.
Okay, so we're getting to that weird moral gray area that's lovely. So if she died, since technically she agreed to it before she died, if we got her sister's agreement later, do I think that would work within the bounds of the spell?
I would say with a 22 Burberry, this thought occurs to you and feels weirdly real and very, very, very possible. It seems like the sort of play a fae would themselves attempt to make, to try and get themselves out of a disadvantageous deal.
In that case, I will say nothing.
So,
How much time do you have left on Zone of Truth at this point?
you're more than halfway through it. You probably only got a handful of minutes left.
Let's me and Lauren and Burberry, if they want to, have a brief aside, if possible.
Okay. John and Barnaby continue to stand guard.
Well, I got a question.
Go for it.
Have you ever
I wasn't sure that was going to cut into our time of Zone of Truth.
I think we're gonna.
You can ask.
Well-
you can ask while the other three are taking their.
Yeah,
side.
while we're doing that, you can ask whatever.
All right, Miss Lady, well, you have any idea what this here thing is? He's going to pull out his drawing.
She will grimace.
Before you say anything, it's the backside, and yes, I did draw, and that's all I got. Other than it did breathe fire.
She will. There's like a note of embarrassment almost in her voice as she says to you, "In honesty, I do not recognize this creature. Your drawing is not very good."
And you know it's the truth.
She will continue, however. However, the description of fire does bring to mind a few viable candidates.
Such as.
Can you get me more than 30 seconds?
Depends on how many candidates you got in that noggin of yours.
Four come to mind.
I just turn around to everybody else. Hey, can we give her some more time so I can find out what this thing might be? She might know four of them.
Okay, so up to this point, these three have been sidebarring. So we'll catch up on that. What were you guys discussing before Barnaby interjects?
As cruel as it is, the fact that she still has information we need, I think means we can kill her if we want to.
Yeah.
We can kill her now.
Burberry will pop up and say, I don't quite think that that's going to be an issue.
What do you mean?
They look over and see, like, how far away. Yeah, pretty much that.
Yeah. Being careful, you guys can kind of like glance up into the brush. And yeah, Aloran, Noel, you guys will immediately pick up on the glint of steel from the arrowhead.
Oh, yeah.
It seems to be aimed directly at Komak.
I will ask, do you think it's been 30 seconds yet?
Hey, everybody.
We got a few more seconds. I got she might know four of what these things might be of my drawing.
Hold on a minute, Barnaby. We are talking about her future.
Like, one question we haven't asked her is if she knows where her sister would be.
I was actually thinking, although we might not know, perhaps we can ask our peanut gallery?
Oh, they might know.
I'll say, glancing out at the perimeter of the stone circle, you will see there is definitely a notable decrease in onlookers. You see far less obvious, looky-loos standing out in the open now that Comac is awake again. There's a handful kind of around the entire perimeter that you can see who seem brave enough to continue standing out in the open. But what others you do see have definitely pulled back into the brush and further obscured themselves since she's regained consciousness.
Well, I guess while we're still sideboard, I'll just say, I think that we...
Oh, I should probably mention, since she's... I just remembered you guys said you blindfolded her, so she's tried to make eye contact with everyone. You've just been staring at a canvas sheet over her eyes this whole time.
That's fair. Yeah, I'll just say, I think at this point, given the terms of our agreement, we need to potentially leave one or two questions unanswered. And I think that Adlar should just take the shot at this point.
Okay.
Was that Adlar? Okay.
Maybe.
That's what I'm telling to Burberry and Lauren. If you guys have a different opinion, go feel free, but I think that's where we're at. We can't actually let her run away for 30 seconds. We can't.
We never said we'd untie her, so we could literally just go to her and be like, your 30 seconds starts now.
Well, that's why I asked, do you think it's been 30 seconds yet? Because we could have started the timer and not told her!
Oof.
She left so many openings in there!
I mean, she was desperate. You are very clever, Burberry.
Alright. Guys, the 30 seconds starts now.
What?
She starts like kicking on the ground, like trying to get up. No.
She starts rolling.
So Barnaby, these three kind of shushed you and went back to their little whisper conversation. You are still standing before this wretched, blindfolded hag. I should remind everyone. She is blindfolded. She cannot see. What do you want to do right now?
Forgot.
Alright, so did the timer actually start?
You wouldn't know any of that. You
Oh,
are.
okay.
They are sidebarring and whispering where she cannot hear them, which means you probably can't hear either. So it's really just you, John, and Comac.
She's just starting to wiggle right now.
Well, she asked you for more than just a 30-second head start.
More time, yeah.
In exchange for the information on these creatures that you asked about. So, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I guess I could give you 5 seconds.
5 seconds isn't worth very much. Maybe half a creature's name.
The.
No, she gives him like the word like boat or something like that, and it's those 4 letters of the thing, but they're not in order and they're not sequential.
I should just have you being the fucking fake.
Dude, yeah, you really need to play some kind of fey creature in a future campaign. You've got the brain for it. So out of character, did Lauren actually start counting down the 30 seconds?
He did.
Okay. Noelle's going to try and subtly cast Mage Hand in front of Adlar.
About
Okay.
3 seconds per name.
Give me a sleight of hand check, Noel.
Sure.
The sleight of mage hand.
Oh, that's a bad
Yeah.
roll. Do I have inspiration?
Or stealth. Sleight of hand or stealth, I'll say.
It's still bad.
Damn.
Let me check.
Didn't you just give him a thumbs up? He's blindfolded.
Oh right. How would she even see this? There's no wait. Is there vocal components for the mage hand? I will check.
Also, are mage hand invisible?
Well,
No. Mage hands are ghostly hands unless you
Damn.
have
Verbal and somatic.
Arcane Trickster.
Well, I got a 10.
10. Okay.
But Barnaby's talking to her.
Barnaby is talking to her, and she is preoccupied. So you cast Mage Hand.
Yeah.
And
All I wanted to do.
conjure a ghostly hand up next to Adlar.
Yeah, I wanted to have it kind of like float in front of his face and just kind of have this there's a flat like don't go yet, and then when it's time, I'm just gonna have to go finger gun.
Cool. All right.
And I'll be listening intently to Lauren's, warnings at the 15 and the 5 and.
Okay. So Barnaby counter pitches 3 seconds per animal name.
Yes.
You're going down from the first one.
That's technically more time than 5 seconds.
No, 3 seconds is less than 5. What are you talking
Well,
about?
I was giving you 5 seconds for all 4 names.
20. 21.
So technically, you're now gaining an extra 1, 2, 3.
My counter offer was 5 seconds for half a name, and you're saying 3 for a full. That's a terrible deal, boy. You have a lot to learn about contending with Fae.
Finger gun motion.
I think I contend with them pretty well, considering how I was able to get you.
You didn't get.
She stops short, Barnaby, as there is a spray of blood and an arrow haft plants itself squarely in the middle of her forehead. She sways and falls to the ground.
Then 2 more arrows just.
Alright, no one feeling anything, right? We're good?
Um,
I think we're done.
I was just about to get her. I was on the cusp of it.
That's
Cusp
right.
of the deal.
I hit you this time. Adlar comes fucking running out of the brush. That's what you fucking get. He fucking pulls out his sword. Shook, 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 shook. Stabs her a couple more times for good measure. Spits.
And then I'm gonna hand him a drink. Hand him a bottle of whiskey.
Thank you. He will take it graciously.
I'll
and
go
take
ahead
a deep drink.
and inform Noelle of the many particulars of moral arcane philosophy.
This is a fascinating discussion. So you think that maybe just by telling us, she somewhat agreed to the terms of the condition?
I believe that she agreed that the gatekeeper should be released. If we can get her sister to say the same thing, we're golden, I think. It's, there's like, you have to consider something of something. It's just
Honestly, right
random tome.
now. Yeah,
Question for the party. Where is the gatekeeper's crystal right now?
I have it
Noelle has it.
Where?
in my bag.
On your back? On your side?
I guess it's probably like on my hip to the side.
Okay. I would say that you feel suddenly something very hot
Oh, shit.
beginning to warm up.
I
On your
wondered.
hip.
Okay. I'll dump the bag just real quick and back away from it. I have this weird
no sooner-
flashback to being sucked into the astral plane, so make sure that doesn't happen again.
No sooner have you opened the bag and spread it and just like flung the contents out. There's like a couple like coins, and like a hairpin, and some other loose items that kind of fall out with it. whatever else you're keeping in that pouch. You see the crystal for a split second fall out of this bag, glowing white hot, before suddenly there is a blinding flash of light. You feel a spray of tiny, almost glass-like shards, kind of peppering, the sides of your arms and your clothes. No damage, but it's definitely not comfortable. And as you kind of put your hands down, start blinking, the fuzzy spots away, you see slowly standing up before you, draped in a silken red gown, a tall, lithe, elvish-looking woman, golden hair running down her back, eyes gleaming with an ethereal light glow.
Inch.
Lauren's gonna be like, "Oh, thank God."
We
didn't have to
overcomplicated the
choose that
fuck out of that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cast Mage Hand and try and brush the dress. Is it real?
Yeah, you see the dress reacts to the touch of the mage hand.
Thank goodness.
As the gatekeeper turns to look at you all, she will kind of sweep her gaze over all six of you and settle down on the dead Comac in your midst. I'm beginning to suspect this creature did not understand hardly any of what she was doing. Well, I thank you all for your assistance.
Burberry is going to give like that polite bow that one does with one superior.
I will also follow suit. I'll be like, "Yeah, you know what?"
Noelle looks like she's bowing, but she's actually just picking her stuff up off the ground.
Sure. The gatekeeper will also sort of respectfully give you a short bow and a very small curtsy. She kind of touches the sides of her dress and pinches, doesn't even like pull it up really, just kind of, slow kneel forward before straightening up and turning to you all. Well, it sounds as though you all have quite a lot of questions and not a lot of answers. If there's anything that I can do to help you in repayment for your aid, I am more than happy to offer it.
Boy, do we. You are the gatekeeper that was making arrangements with the village. Gladym? Is this correct?
I am she. Yes.
Well, first off, we're sorry we didn't do this earlier. We had hoped to extract some information from this creature. But we weren't unaware of the conditions to release you.
In truth, I was not fully aware of them either myself. I only remember that upon the completion of her spell, she was quite elated at her success. I suspect the hasty oath she swore was perhaps the final touch of the spell, that she perhaps did not fully intend to be the case. At any rate, I do not recall any such conversation of an agreement in the time that they were in my presence.
I guess we got kind of lucky then. Because
Yes.
the condition would have been very complicated to work out.
Yes, this second sister, Kotum,
Yes, and she is still out there, so we do have to be careful.
she will have to be careful.
Oh, damn.
Out of character, she got bad bitch energy, and Lauren's loving it.
Are you back to being DTF?
Noelle just got intimidated.
Lauren's over there like, "Ooh, okay."
The gatekeeper will actually kind of look out over the garden and see the onlookers, the Fae who have been watching this whole interaction, you can see now the crowd at the edge of the jungle has substantially increased in the past minute. And there is a visible sort of trembling happening in this crowd, this anticipation, excitement. And the gatekeeper will turn back to your group, and she will say, I believe I have some business to attend to for a moment. But if you'd like to make yourselves comfortable, I will be back shortly, and we can sort out whatever aid or answers you may require. If you will excuse me for the moment.
Yeah, I got quite a few questions, so I'll wait.
She will step away from you and just kind of leave you around the body of this dead hag as she steps out into the middle of the garden, and you see this crush of figures begin to push in past the standing stones into the shallow pond and surround her. And there is this image, this gray mass of people surrounding this tall, shining figure. Intense gratitude begins outpouring. Barnaby, you're probably the only one who fully understands the snippets that are being said, but I think all of you can understand the tone from this multitude of voices rejoicing at the return of their fair lady. I think this is a good spot for a break. We're almost at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock for you guys. So be back in 10 minutes, and we can pick up with the gatekeeper rejoining your party and start that conversation.
Sounds good.
It's how she celebrates.
All right, we're
Bye
back.
for everyone.
We're back on.
She comes back from the crowd of grateful fae with arms full of baked goods. They've been waiting to give her. But no, she'll eventually return to your party, and you guys can. Do you guys like stay outside? Do you want to move this inside? How do you want to handle her parting?
I don't think we should go inside her home since it's already been fucked with enough.
Yeah, we don't really know what's at the end of that. I mean, it's some kind of strange space where illusion or mind trickery goes on, so we'll probably just wait out here for a little bit.
Barnaby planted himself where he's at.
Okay.
Found a stump and sat on it.
You guys doing anything
Is
with
he pouting? I have to know.
He just got
body?
both his hands on his knees, just like he's sitting there waiting. Arms up, like he's ready.
Okay.
He's got some questions.
Are you guys doing anything with the body?
Oh.
I believe that Adlar is currently using it.
Why do you have to phrase it like that?
Stank, stank, stank.
I have to continue my trend, you know?
You really don't.
So much more amusing that way, Barnaby.
I love the way you're phrasing things, Burberry. I find it absolutely delightful.
You alone.
Speak for yourself.
Someone gets appreciation. I put work into how I phrase things.
Good. I'm glad you do. Brings a smile to my face every time.
No, Barnaby, were you trying to... I don't know, some cosmic something that makes me feel like we interrupted something.
Yes.
Are you alright?
Depends if I get the answers from this and over here. As he gestures towards
I think she's free to answer now, so
her.
you feel free to go first, Barnaby.
Barnaby, the floor is yours.
Yes, I'm perfectly willing to concede it, considering most of my questions got answered by the fakes. Wait, what if they were lying?
And I guess you got some questions too.
Repeats. We'll see. Yes.
So, eventually she will break away from her grateful subjects and return to you all. And you watch as the crowd of fays just kind of disperses back into the forest and more or less leaves you guys alone, unwatched.
Okay, well, like yay. Sorry.
With the gatekeeper at the foot of her cave. Well, thank you for waiting. So, how can I repay you all?
Well, for starters, you can answer a few questions.
She will turn to you, Barnaby.
For those
Such
you
as?
are you with mythical butts?
Mythical what's?
Butts.
Phrasing?
Oh gosh darn it, that took me a second. I don't even know if it's mythical. Let alone technically it's butt.
Just show her the
I
picture.
think this is where it's at. Alright, so, long story short, here's a picture I drew of some old beast that could breathe fire. It's from the back. Don't mock my drawing. It's the best I could do.
This woman takes one look at your drawing, takes a deep breath, and she says to you, "This is the backside of Tigerion the Terror." I'm kidding. That's not a real name.
I was like, oh shit, it's like a thing. Oh.
Yeah, right. Holy shit, I was like, okay. Plot progression, y'all.
Oh, why'd you have to do that? Get me all excited like that.
I'm sorry. I just couldn't resist.
It's been so long since I've told a joke.
You seem like a good group. But this does look like it could be potentially a dragon. A very hairy dragon. It could also be
A hairy dragon? A hagon?
Well, you told me not to say anything ill of your drawing, but I am doing my best here.
Lauren's gonna like. She's gonna try really hard not to laugh. She's gonna be like.
She squints and kind of turns
Would
it
it be
over in her
able to-
hands again.
Wouldn't they be able to tell based off the abilities more so than the picture, since the picture
Yes.
just shows their ass?
Give her the description, Barnaby.
Yes, the
what
fire breathing does make me think dragon first. However,
All
I
right.
have not. I do not recall ever hearing mention of real, true dragons.
Well, if it helps,
In
here's
recent memory. It has been some time since I last saw their kind.
some more if that helps. It had scales, fur, wings, horns, claws, and could breathe fire. That's all that I really got out of it.
These are the scales here. She starts kind of pointing at some of the lines in your drawing.
Yes.
All right, that's not fur then.
Well, it did have fur.
I mean,
This is
5 out of 6 of those could actually still just be a dragon.
This is true. But again, I am quite confident that most, if not all, the dragons died a long, long time ago. This.
Oh, and it was also smart. Pretty sure. Took me a heck of a time trying to find it.
I would not conflate intelligence with the low cunning of beasts. This.
Well, I think it sent me to the Fae. Is kind of add on to that. Sorry, you're getting bits and pieces before you speak.
This creature came from my realm. Or led you to it.
All I know, I was tracking it, and then forest got real weird like, and then I got spat out of the forest, and then found out 5 years had passed by.
There is a softening of her expression. I am sorry to hear that. The Feywild can be treacherous for your kind to cross through. Without proper guidance, one can lose quite a bit. I am sorry.
You're telling me I'm still trying to find the perpetrator who done cut off my finger.
Was it this creature?
No.
You seem to have a great many enemies, Mr. Barnaby.
Just as many as I do friends.
Well, based off your description and your drawing, this could be... This could be an elephant.
They're thick.
That's a thick dragon.
This could be a dummy thick dragon. This could be a...
Dummy thick. What the heck is that?
It's a Fey expression. Never mind. As I said, the dragons have been dead for a long time. May they rest in peace.
So,
This appears to me as though it might possibly be a chimera.
A camera?
Close. They are scaled and furred. They breathe fire. And they are quite vicious predators. The Fey courts have driven them from the heartlands, but there are still plenty lurking in the border woods of my realm. It is quite possible that one or more have made a habit of hunting in your realm.
Or it could I find this camera?
Well, I would expect you would need to resume tracking it. Where was the last
Yeah,
place
it kind
you
of makes
saw
it. Oh, in the forests on the border of Cramicon. But as you can see, I'm a bit away from there.
That
And
is
it's
a
also
very
been 5 years. I got no
long
clue.
way away. Yes. She pauses.
Hey, get out. Get.
One of the boggles is up on the
Yeah,
stump.
that was my head
Bad
cannon.
Look at her.
Dad.
There's 2 boggles on a branch, like one is balancing on the other.
Hey, they've like tied one of them to another branch and are like, fucking just,
You're gonna hurt yourself.
let me down, let me down. She pauses, and after a moment, she says, "If I were to offer a measure of guidance, the way back, would this be sufficient to aid you in your quest, Mr. Barnaby?"
What do you mean, like a way back?
That means to return to the start of your hunt. This border woods in Camelcom.
He just pauses for a brief second, then looks at everybody. I don't think I can do that. I got a family here. I got stories to find, stories to tell after I find them.
And a
If
list.
I go back now,
I
I ain't
do
gonna
not
find
mean
that out.
to insinuate that you would be leaving this all behind. I am simply offering you a pathway. If you are interested.
Hey, Planet.
Hmm.
Where's CamelCon?
Camelcon is across the Helan Sea.
like
on
across the
northern
fucking world.
shore. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
no.
it's a very long way from the Emerald Coast. I think Barnaby's mentioned that was his homeland at some point.
it was the border of it.
Yeah, closer to I think Helia than actual
Correct.
Camelcon, but it is the Hobgoblin civilization that settled on the far side of the Sea of Helan.
Orin will ask the gatekeeper, would we be able to come back and you guide us at a later time?
It would not be a time-sensitive offer, she will say. And she will raise a hand and slowly gesture in the air, and you watch as she sort of plucks a bottle, as if from a tree branch overhead. And as she brings it down to hold in front of you, Barnaby, you can see that there is a faint silvery light shining between her fingers from inside this bottle.
Fancy looking bottle you got on there.
This is the guidance I offer, she says. A waylight. With it, you can pass through an old forest into the border realm and follow it to any connected forest with which you are familiar. While you hold the bottle, you are the master of the spirit inside, and the spirit will borrow, shall we say, your memory of the place that you seek. It can guide you through the border realm of the Feywild, and in short order, lead you to the edge of the forest, where your quarry was last seen. In the same token, it can be used to return. Here in Faerham, or she'll give a small smile, the Fairwood on the mainland, just across the channel.
How many times can that spirit help?
It will require rest after a journey, but it is a spirit of the Feywild. He is not bound to the material needs of flesh and bone as you are.
That mean you don't like gumbo?
You will not have to feed him.
I have a question. If Barnaby follows this spirit, or any of us follow the spirit into the woods, what is stopping us from losing 5 years as well?
The spirit will guide you.
Yeah, I didn't have a fancy guide
Stick
like last
to
time.
the road that the spirit leads you upon, and you should pass anywhere you wish in less than a week. Step off the road, and I cannot promise what might become of you then. But once the spirit has recovered, it can lead you back to a road and back to somewhere familiar. I should ask that if you do accept this gift, you are under no obligation to accept, of course, but if you do, I would ask that you guard it carefully. This is not a boon that my kind give to outsiders. It could prove very dangerous in the wrong hands. But I do believe it could help you.
What do you guys think? I think it's a pretty good deal.
That's very generous.
Extremely.
You did free me from the indefinite imprisonment at the hands of a pair of young, foolish hags. Embarrassed as I am that I succumbed to their brutish ploy, I am grateful for your help, and I am more than willing to repay however I can.
I have a couple things, but I don't want to...
Barnaby, do you have any more questions? Because we have plenty here.
One last question, then I'll let y'all have at it. And he's just gonna get real close and whisper, "You know any good recipes for gumbo? I feel like I've just been using the same thing all the time. I want to mix it up a little bit."
Only Burnaby.
I know the gumbo recipes of the gods, Barnaby.
You dare ask?
You are banished!
Banished from the wilds! Never speak of Fey Gumbo again. She will just kind of chuckle. And just kind of place a very gentle hand on your shoulder, Barnaby. And she will say, I am sure when the time is right, you will be struck with the proper inspiration to further elevate your cooking, Mr. Barnaby. For all of my centuries of experience, I never did take the time to learn how to cook. I'm afraid there I cannot help you.
Darn. Well, couldn't hurt to ask. All right.
What a waste of
Barnaby
time.
goes back over to his stump, looking at the bottle.
All right.
How about you? You know any gumbo recipes?
So you
Starts
taking the
talking to
bottle?
Yeah.
The little light inside just kind of flickers, and you hear a very faint chime, almost like tiny bells from inside.
He's going to start talking to it sitting on the stump, trying to form a means of communication.
Okay.
Gumbo.
Exactly.
Do you like gumbo?
Cooking is a language everyone can understand. And I'm going to teach it to you if you don't know it.
So, the rest of the party still has the attention of the gatekeeper.
Yes.
Lauren's two things was Dodo and the Gatewatch. So, I think start with Dodo.
Yeah. Could explain, there's a word, what happened to our friend in Faerul interacting with these hags. They kept saying that they took his essence. We didn't quite know what that meant, but it has left him functionally not a person anymore.
Her expression definitely sours. I am very sorry for what became of Doto. I have heard these two discussing their failure to properly convert him at length. I am quite certain they did not fully understand what it was they were trying to do. They are, for hags, young, inexperienced, and lacking in guidance at this point in their lives. I believe they understand the need to take of your kind and reshape into theirs. I do not believe they fully understood the implications of this act or what is typical of their kind in the performance of these sorts of profanities. Doto was barely a man, but he was certainly old enough to have developed a personhood of his own. And there is a reason why their kind typically require infant babes for these sorts of rituals. They have not yet been formed into their own person. They are still fresh, malleable, vulnerable. To attempt to do to Doto what might have worked on a much, much younger mortal was a fool's errand. I fear they succeeded in breaking him down, but matured as he is, there was still too much in the way for them to build him into something else. So he is left now this dark space in between. And I fear that there will not be an easy way for him to recover. He will certainly never be the man he was before. That much has been consumed. Doto as he was is gone. But he is yet young. And there is still much that he could be.
I'll glance over at Adler.
Same.
What's his reaction to that?
Give me an insight check.
I'm also rolling inside.
Okay.
First bad one of
I'm
the
guessing
night.
hella justified.
He is sobbing. No. That's a 9.
9,
Got like I think like 7.
7.
24?
Oh wait, no, I have a +5 on insight.
Oh shit.
So that is
8.
12.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll say with a 12, Aloran, you do see the faintest of glistening in the eyes. You can tell he is fighting back tears. But he is holding a stoic expression despite that.
I like sit next to him and just kind of like pat his back. Be like, just sorry.
He just kind of gives a deep breath. With a 24 Burberry, I think that you have already imagined perhaps how difficult this is going to be going forward, having to start over. I think you've been thinking about this for a while, frankly. And you're sure that right now Adlar is in a vulnerable emotional position. The anger of, the injustice of everything has finally fallen to the wayside, having extracted his vengeance on Comac, and I think that now what's left is just sadness and a little bit of worry about what might happen in the future. At any rate, Adlar will kind of just nod to you, Aloran, after you kind of pat him on the back and say, "Well, it's I suppose it's not any worse than it is already been. Things can only improve from here, right?"
I'll just be like, well, he'll have a great friend to help guide him.
If you will have me. I have no desire to force the issue if he decides otherwise. But I will miss the man he was. He was a good friend. Excuse me. He will just kind of step outside the circle for a moment and cross his arms and just take in the surrounding jungle for a moment, his back to everyone.
So there was 2 guys. They're called gatekeepers. No, not gatekeepers, sorry. the gate watch.
There's a lot of gate
And-
things.
Yeah, there's lots of gates. And we were told by Sister Comac that they got lost in the border realm. Would there be any way we could get them out of there?
I would be very careful about attempting to traverse the border realm in such a fashion. Without a destination in mind. Losing your...
Get down!
Boggles are at it again.
I'll bite this cat, I swear to God.
He is rough.
Oh, she's bad. Hey, get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Bad cat. All right.
Even with the waylight?
Without a proper destination in mind, it is very easy to lose yourself in the bordering forests of the Feywild.
A fey creature be able to get them?
They, I believe, would stand a far better chance of safely searching
Would you be
than your
willing
kind.
to look for them?
I can certainly put some eyes out. I cannot make any promises.
And I don't know where my notes their names are. But I don't know their names.
Did we
Their
get their
names.
names?
Yeah.
They was
You-
in the journal.
You do have their names, yeah. Their names were Finran and Edrain.
Okay. And they're elves, I believe.
Yep.
I've got one for you. I'll take out the card we found with the Breaker of Gates label on it, and I'll pass it to her and say, what does this even mean? Who is the Breaker of Gates?"
She will furrow her brow. This name is strange to me. I have heard it mentioned in the courts of the Feywild before, infrequently. Among numerous other titles. This being, whoever they are, has made a habit of freely walking the roads of the Feywild. Seemingly with no difficulty at all. They are not Fey. This much is known. And from the look of it, they seem to be quite powerful and quite capricious. I cannot imagine their motive in arming two young fool hags with the sort of magic they assailed me with. She will take a step over towards Comac. She will kneel down and start rummaging through pockets in the ratty, torn robes.
Oh yeah, we never did
And
that.
she will. You do hear jingling as she does this.
I think we were distracted.
And she will step away with a small cylinder about a foot long, likely a scroll case. Beautifully either lacquered or cut from this polished blue material, vivid cerulean. And in the end of one end of this case, as she sort of turns it over in her hands, you are able to see there is a small emblem etched into the end of the scroll case. An open archway crowned by 3 skulls.
Is there a scroll in there?
She will open it, and you will see the case is empty.
Is that symbol familiar to you?
I have seen it, as I said, on a handful of occasions. Always in reference to this breaker of gates. A keeper of names. One of many faces. They seem to favor many epithets. And they have evidently consorted with a fair number of knowledgeable and wise among my kind. But they rarely leave much trace, and are very good at obscuring their tracks, much to our chagrin. I have not ever, however, encountered such a being myself.
Would you mind if we took that scroll case? In case we run into new clues?
She will extend it to you.
I'll take it.
And if we search her body?
Your query is your own.
Cool. Lauren's gonna start.
While she does that, I'm gonna think if there's any more questions we need to ask this lady.
Fat loot. So yeah, Lauren, as you start rummaging through those jangly pockets, you do find Comac had a pretty decent stash on her person. She was carrying a decent number of loose coins. And you do recall the very large stash in the basement of the Gatewatch Tower back in Gladham. Speak up.
We're going back there. Alora wanted to take everything.
And yeah, you recall that stash and probably connect like, oh yeah, they were stealing a bunch of shit. This is probably where she got it. Because you do recognize this is Emerald Coast coinage. Lots of silver, a decent number of gold pieces. You also find 3 strange items among all of this booty. One is a ceramic flask with a rubber stopper on like a flip lid, kind of like in one piece. It's like a kind of connected. It looks almost like a homemade kind of flask. Not very large, maybe like half a cup in size. And It is sort of wrapped in threads that are beaded with these lumpy yellow beads. You squint and grimace and realize they're not really beads, it's teeth of some kind. Additionally, you pull out a much smaller cylinder, second one. This one is a dark navy blue, kind of waxy feeling. And there is sort of a cloth strip wrapped around one end of it. So it's sort of like grippable, I guess, without really like sinking your fingers into the material. It's kind of pliant. And then finally, the third item that you pull out of her pockets, there is a small palm-sized stone that has been carved into the eerie likeness of an open-mouthed skull.
I compare that to the skulls in the archway symbol.
Looking at them, they don't have a lot of similarity. The skulls on the archway symbol are very small and not super detailed. This one on the handheld stone is like very intricate and stylized and clearly designed to appear sinister and foreboding. The tiny skulls on the archway on the end of the scroll case are just like the barest representation of skulls. Like, you can tell what they are, but that's like the extent of the detail.
These items to the gatekeeper and be like, do you know what any of these things are?
She will pick up the flask, flip the top, some manner of potion, close it, a candle. The eyes flash. This is ascending stone. Ascending stone. I understand your kind are quite adept in their creation as well. I do not know where its sister stone is, however.
Probably on the
Sister?
other hag.
Do you think the mouth moves when it talks?
Can I go?
Turns it over in her hand.
So,
You just call in.
you.
What are you saying to it?
Hello, dearie. Come back. I miss you. I killed those bunch of buffoons.
Okay, sure. You say that. The eyes in the stone very dimly shine with a dull red glow for a moment before going dark. There's no response.
Hey guys. How much you want to bet the Sister Stone is the same as this one?
And which stone?
The Sister Stone.
I would bet they are the same.
Does that make it an item that I'm familiar with?
Technically, I should warn you, however, that your you would know your spell the way you know the way your spell works. If this is closer to you than the one you're looking for, this will be what's pinged.
Yeah, no, I figured I should.
Yeah, you would need to leave this behind you to try and locate it. And
It took me
hopefully,
way too long to figure out we were talking about locate object. I was forgetting about that
Yeah,
spell.
no, I was very confused. I was like, what about the Sister Stone? You have it?
Not yet.
Burberry is a hag.
Secretly. In my heart of hearts.
Someday.
Yeah.
One day I'll be a fey creature.
Lauren?
One day it'll be playable.
Lauren tastes the potion. Because curiosity kills the cat, and she's gonna do
Okay.
it.
You can actually do that to identify potions.
Yeah, you can just take a small taste. So what's funny, Lauren? You like pop the top, and you can't really tell what color it is looking at it, but you just kind of stick your tongue into it. It's salty, and it immediately calls to mind seawater. A taste you are very familiar with as a Triton.
Is it like a smell of underwater?
It almost doesn't taste like anything to you. It's like it takes you a second almost because you're so used to that. It's just like, oh shit, that's like seawater.
I still don't know what it is.
I'd say give me like Arcana check
Isn't there an actual
or
mechanic
a
where you
medicine check.
can like taste a potion and you get to learn something about it or something like that?
I think with certain, like with healing potions, you can identify them immediately. I will double check, however, to see if there is that. I believe it's in the Dungeon Master's Guide.
Do you want to bat your eyes in my direction, Lauren, for some advantage on your roll?
Barry, it tastes like salt water. What is it?
Alright, there you go. Advantage for you.
Let's see. Oh, okay. Actually, yeah. I guess don't check needed then.
I thought so.
Just a taste. Good catch, Pete. Just a taste of a potion is enough to tell you what it does. And Lauren, yeah, it takes you a moment to even recognize, like, oh shit, that's right, this is seawater, because it's such a familiar taste, and it occurs to you that this potion is fucking useless to you, because it is a potion of water breathing.
Damn it, I knew it. Alright, who wants to breathe underwater? Anybody?
Oh, me.
Okay,
Barnaby
alright.
waves his hands up.
My gun will be great under there.
I give the potion.
I know it will.
All right.
Can I,
Cool.
taste the candle? I don't.
You don't put every magic item in your mouth from now on.
And this is how
I
Lauren...
just want to lick the sword.
Lauren finds a warm, narrow reed
no.
of wood, beaded with little red glass beads, and it's like, what does this wand of fireball taste like? I stick it in my mouth. Tasting the candle,
how big
though.
the room was.
Yeah. I said I eat the wand of fireball. Tasting the candle. Again, it's weird because it takes a second to register that, oh yeah, this isn't just the potion. The candle also has like a weird briny taste to it. This also tastes like the sea.
I want to know what a candle of
It's a
water
salt.
The
breathing
candle
is
of
like.
water breathing.
Does it have like a little wick on it?
Yeah, as you inspect it and kind of like start turning it over in your hand, you can see at one end there is kind of faintly visible under the wax a wick that like folded down and like just kind of melted into the candle, and you're able to like kind of scratch at it and kind of pull the wick up.
Perfect. She's gonna. I think she has a cantrip for fire, so she's gonna light the candle.
Okay.
It's a candle of fireball.
Yep, produce flame. She
Joke's on you, bitch. Guess what else is salty? TNT. No, the candle lights, and you now have a lit candle in your hand.
She's really disappointed, so she just. And
Okay.
the last thing she will do, just for kicks and giggles, she's going to lick the stone and be like, "Ah, it's a sending stone."
That'll be a useful ability later, I'm sure.
From across the group, the gatekeeper's just standing there with a hand on her cheek, arms crossed, like, okay. Expressionless.
My saviors.
My heroes, you saved me from the wicked witches.
Proceeds to lick candles and rocks.
Well,
Talks to fairy light.
Now she's saving her from the wick.
Oh my
It-
gosh.
All right. So, anybody else got anything else they want to cover while we're here?
Burberry is gonna go on a quick like. So the last your predecessor said yada 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 yada, and just double check to make sure that she wasn't lying.
About what specifically?
Oh, about being or not a deity, whatever that term we came up with all the how, do, and
Okay.
there was a whole question list at some point.
So just kind of verifying what you asked a session ago.
Eh.
I guess what I could say in summary is to Kotum's credit, she was not really lying about any of that. You do, however, learn the gatekeeper does have mortal agents. Individuals that she does grant parcels of power to in order to accentuate her presence and influence in certain areas. Gladham, chief among them.
That's all I wanted. I'm a very simple person. I'm a very
Do what?
priest. I said that's all I wanted. I'm a very simple priest.
I do actually have one thing.
Okay.
It's actually something important, I think. I'm gonna ask her, like, will you go back to the...
Oh yeah, the original terms of the agreement.
Yes. Yes.
The whole point of this thing.
Yeah, will you uphold the original terms of agreement with the city of Gladham?
To my understanding, the city of Gladham was never in any violation with me. I have no reason to renege on our agreement. You can tell the elders that order has been restored to the border.
Can't spell border without order. I'll go be over here.
What time of day is it?
At this point, it's like mid-afternoon. 2, 3 o'clock. Maybe.
No, we can't make it back today. Honestly, with Auntie Kotum out there still, I am a little concerned of just wandering through the woods. Especially given our lack of resources after these fights.
You are more than
The
welcome
night here.
to stay the night here.
Yes.
That's very gracious.
You know what? I don't have a bucket list, but I'm going to make one solely for the purpose of adding this on the bucket.
I have rooms, if you would prefer a bed, to camping out in the woods for one night.
Absolutely. Would you be willing to show us around your place?
Of course. I expect that your previous host did not have a strong working knowledge of the layout inside.
She also ate some of your eyeballs.
Those weren't mine.
Oh. damn it.
I mean, technically that is a correct statement. They aren't hers.
She winks, turns towards the cavern, and begins walking inside. And following her, your party will find not the long, featureless stone hallway that you saw up on your first paths through this place. You will find instead a far more welcoming and expansive space, a long foyer lined with doors, staircases on either side, halfway up the hall leading to a second level. This place is significantly better lit than it was on your first approach. Much warmer, much cozier. There are tapestries on the wall, intricate forest nature scenes. And there's a very prominent smell of warm, savory something cooking from that kitchen at the far end. And stepping inside, she will say, you may take your pick of any of the rooms here or the floor above if you prefer a balcony. The dining room is just ahead, and beyond that, obviously, the gate. If you are hungry, you are more than welcome to join me for a meal.
Certainly.
At one point, I think Lauren will try to ask the gatekeeper kind of when everyone else is choosing their room, she'll stay behind.
Mm-hmm.
She'll ask if she knows how to make sending stones.
If I know how to make them. Okay. I assume so. You're wanting to do this while you have her one-on-one at some point. Okay, yeah, and yeah, if you guys want to cover anything during your stay here, that's something to bring up, and we can go ahead and knock that out. Well, say during the moment that you catch her on her own at some point today, ask her this. She will say, "It is well within my ability, though it is a time-consuming process. Imbuing an object with a permanent wreath of magic like this is, as I say, cannot be rushed, but it can be done."
How long does it take?
It can take a couple of weeks. Sometimes longer. Distractions permitting, of course. Why do you ask?
Sending stones, but that's it.
Well, I suspect if you can find this one's partner, you may be in luck.
And then she'll just...
You are so quiet, Chani.
She'll just tootle off. She'll be like, okay, no worries. And then...
Okay, cool. So, for those of you who catch a meal, the dining room is abuzz with activity. There are appliances on counters that were not present the first time you entered. There's a bubbling pot of something stirring itself, seemingly, over a roaring fire off to the side. This room is far more cozy and comfortable than the first time you approached. That enormous gateway is nowhere to be seen at present. There is another door on the far end of the chamber that could be passed through if you so chose. But this dining area is filled with moving objects, plates of salad and cooked greens and a wide variety of dishes, all smelling delicious and very, very tasty and filling and nourishing. she sits down and then has a meal for the first time in God knows how long. And while she eats with a certain amount of dignity, there is definitely like a near bottomless appetite from her lengthy imprisonment that she is now making up for. She's in there for a good couple of hours, just slowly, knocking out plate after plate. So y'all are welcome to partake. This might be the point where Lauren maybe catches her alone after the rest of the party's kind of, had their fill and wandered off to rooms. Yeah, y'all are guests in a much more welcoming environment than you were on your first pass through here.
I mean, I'll gladly participate in the dinner and everything. Do we get all our own rooms, or is it like 2 rooms?
Yeah,
or...
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, when you stepped into that like first entryway foyer, like there were doors lining that hall, and on a second floor balcony overhead, there's big beautiful like antlered chandelier, casting light in to every corner of the room. Looking through that foyer area, like they're they all sort of open into unique rooms. It's interesting. Like I suppose once you've eaten and decide to go out and look around, open a door. First door on your left, just take a peek. You look in. And no, hey, get out of here.
How did the Buggles get in here?
You look into that first room, and what you see is actually like a really really well furnished, like beautiful, like silk topped bed. 4 posters. You got curtains, hanging from overhead. It's beautiful in there. This lovely armoire. The decor, while sort of cut and shaped in a very like elven fashion, this has the look of this woman's home. Like the upholstery and the detailing has elements that remind you of home almost. Like you kind of spread the fabric hanging from the 4 posters bed, the curtain there, and there is a pattern of alien lilies kind of cascading down it in these very soft forest greens and yellows. Out of curiosity, step out of this room, poke your head in the room right next door to it, and it's the exact same room.
She really should differentiate her decorating. I do have one small scene I'd want to do if I could also pull the gatekeeper side at some point, like if everybody's going to bed or something.
Sure.
So wherever I find her, I'll just walk up and say, "Hey, I have a couple quick questions for you, if you don't mind."
Of course.
I think the first one's pretty simple. It's more of a yes or no, but could the Waylight lead us back here if we wanted? Like if we wanted to visit?
The Waylight is more than capable of making that journey.
Good to know. I was going to ask if there was any way we could contact you, but having a means to literally show up kind of solves that.
You could, if you so chose, use the Waylight this very night to travel to the edge of the forest. It would probably not save you much time, but you could.
Noted. The other question I had was maybe more difficult to answer, but our friend Barnaby, who you explained the Chimera to, and he was the one who was lost in the Feywilds for a while. He is a very nice man, and he is very shown to have a lot of care for us as a group. But there are things that are off about him, and I'm not sure if they are related to his time in the Feywild, or if they are just him being quirky. And I wanted to know if you had ever heard of someone who talks to their hands as though they are his family. Is this an affliction or a curse, or... I just, with people potentially like losing their essence and souls being up for grabs in strange deals, I just wanted to know if this is anything you've ever heard of before.
He talks to his hands.
He has all of his fingers named, and they are his family members. And as far as we can tell, he cannot or does not differentiate between them and perhaps his real family.
That is very strange,
I agree.
even by Fae standards. Oh, shit. Can't hear buggles.
Buggles. I just wanted to know if that was ever something you heard. I'm all new to all this Fae stuff, so I don't know, but I wanted to ask someone who might.
She kind of gives you a soft smile. I am sure such behavior could be manifested with a curse or a powerful enchantment of some manner. But for what it's worth, when I was inspecting your hall earlier, I caught glimpses of the magic that you carry on your persons. Mr. Barnaby is not beset by any such power, that I can see at least.
I guess that's good to know. It just...
He does seem an interesting man.
It struck me as odd, and it always has. And I didn't know if there was some kind of otherworldly explanation, or if it was just an oddity.
It could well have its roots in his time in the wild. But if that is the case, he has not told me yet.
Oh, I've asked him about it. Or maybe not directly, but we've tried to get more specific answers from him about whether he regards those as his family or whether they are representations of his family, but he doesn't differentiate. It's hard to get an answer. In any case, that's not your dilemma. It's just something that was rattling around in my head, and with all of Barnaby's questions being answered recently, I thought maybe I could find an answer to this one.
For the time being, I think that mystery will remain a mystery until he sees fit to shed some light on the matter himself.
I suppose. Well, in any case, thank you for everything. And I am just glad that even though we cannot help Doto in the way that we had hoped, there's still some hope for him. I think a few of us know what it's like to have to restart.
It is not an easy thing.
Definitely not.
I hope that come morning, I may be able to offer some aid on that matter as well.
I look forward to hearing it over breakfast.
I hope you have a restful night. Yes, Noah.
Good night.
She will part ways with you.
Sure.
Anything anybody else wants to tend to over the course of your Barbary,
Number 3.
of course.
You know if there's a line.
Yeah, sure.
Your turn, Burberry.
Yay! So Burberry is basically going to go, this is going to sound a little out there, but, do you have a library?
I do have a personal collection, yes.
I'm doing research on a specific, condition, and I was curious if I could look through any tomes you might have on said condition.
She will kind of narrow her eyes for a moment. There's a coy smile.
I feel like she's seeing right through me, and I'm not sure if I like it or not.
She is.
Perhaps we might speak more openly in private, she says. And as she says that, you'll hear a click off to like the left of the chamber that you have found her in, and there is a door there that you did not notice before. That is now opened.
Does it lead to secret chat?
It will lead to a conversation at a later date, I think, because we are running close to the end of the night. But you can 100% have a one-on-one private conversation with her about this particular affliction. I do believe she'll be able to offer some insight.
Another question.
Yes.
Quiet.
Are you done? with her? Are you done?
Yeah, no, I'm done, but I could barely hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't have my. Lauren's going to ask about a mystical sea creature with many eyes that attack.
Oh, right, her backstory.
Yeah.
Oh, that thing.
You know, that's important. I was sitting there like, oh my god.
And this creature attacked you.
So
Where and when?
it was on the edge of the Hellions abyss. How long ago have I joined the party?
This was over 2 months ago now, I think.
Okay, so this was a few months ago.
This was longer than that, because you spent like a month swimming back
Yeah,
to the
so
Emerald
it's been-
Coast. Like
been-
a long ass time.
Yeah, on that. Been a few months, but it destroyed an entire village. Didn't appear to like eat anybody. It just kind of crushed everything, and it had a ton of eyes.
That is curious and devastating. I am sorry to hear this.
Nothing booze can't help.
I am well versed in the flora and fauna of my home. I am very familiar with the creatures that dwell along the borders in your realm. Your seas are less familiar to me. I apologize for my lack of familiarity with the ways of your people and your home. My first impulse would be that this is a creature of depths, this could be a creature of elemental significance. Perhaps wrathful being of the sea. However, your kind, broadly speaking, mortal kind, when your people came to this world, in the beginning there was a great measure of arcane prowess at their disposal. They wrought spells, the likes of which I had never seen before at the time. Bastions, wards, powerful wards against extraplanar intrusion. Your kind fielded terrible armies against extraplanar beings, waged devastating wars against them. Over time, I have watched as this prowess has waned, as your people have lost much of their former knowledge. But despite that deterioration, to the credit of your kind, your oldest and greatest spells still hold fast in many places of the world. And as I understand, there is quite the divided opinion in your leadership regarding contact with elemental planes. You've kind of been very guarded about it for a very long time, and that remains the case. I would first think you are contending with an elemental, but there are strange details that your kind have brought to the story of the world that give me pause in that assessment, and I am not sure where that leaves me. But your story does have my curiosity. I do not have much sway in the sea, pardon me. But I can start to put feelers out, ask around, and see what I can learn.
That would be appreciated.
Of course.
My final question. Do you have a tranquil plane?
This is an artifact of one of your old armies. I am familiar with this device, but I am not in possession of one myself.
Think that has one?
The last time I heard tell of any such pain some centuries back, there was a meeting between your warlords and some members of the local court. They were looking to hide some of their weapons and treasures. They were hoping, I think, to broker a deal. Unfortunately for them, the conditions of our court were not to their liking, and they left. After that, I don't know what became of them. What?
Thank you.
Oh. Sure. Yeah, she will leave you with a promise that she will do some digging when she's got some time to see what she can learn about this strange sea monster. Anybody else? I'm not hearing nothing. So, you guys will be able to find rooms for yourself easily enough. You will find those rooms magically, mystically customized for your comfort. Lauren, there are lights in the ceiling that sort of cast a watery sort of shimmer around the walls of the room. Kind of give the place a cool but relaxing sort of vibe to it. The bed itself is this very large, deeply cushioned, round mattress. Very like big, poofy like blankets and deep greens and blues. Lots and lots of pillows. You can just kind of wrap yourself up in all of this and just kind of tuck yourself in to a comfortable sort of almost not quite like a waterbed, but it's definitely got like that kind of like floating sensation almost as you settle into the mattress. It just kind of slowly like kind of undulates and drifts. You find yourself falling asleep faster than you have in ages. Burberry, I imagine what you find in your room is this almost like tent-like space. There are tons of these fabric hangings like running along the walls in a variety of interesting colors and patterns. There's not even like a proper bed here. There is just like a mountain of cushions of all shapes and sizes, and more than enough blankets that you could probably fashion yourself your own intricate pillow fort.
Also weirdly smell like cat fur.
Yeah, there is something comforting about that familiar musky smell. Barnaby, I think you find yourself in a strangely small room, I think, but something that it's lots of this exposed wood paneling, these really rustically cut furnishings, and this open window through which a constant breeze carries the smell of like fresh cut grass mixed with like ocean breeze, mixed with like really fragrant warm seasoning. There's something very homey and comforting about the space you find yourself in.
Oh, this is quite nice.
I will say I'm kind of at a loss. I'm not sure what John's most comfortable space would look like. I'm not sure if
You
he'd be
don't know.
more comfortable outdoors, if he'd find something more akin to like a childhood comfort, um, or what really, like what does that room look like for John?
A very, very, very big pillow.
Just one big pillow.
A sumo
He
sack.
just lays right on that pillow, and then the lights go off, and he just lays there in the pillow in the darkness.
It's like the only thing he's ever wanted is a bed big enough for his enormous frame.
It's just a pillow and then chairs that are his size along the wall.
He just wants to lie in comfort and peace for a while.
And the door frame is 9 feet high.
It's like the perfect like dimness of lighting, like sourceless. It's like you can't tell where it's coming from, but it's like just the level of dark you're comfortable sleeping with, like just the right size on this pillow. And yeah, like as soon as you lay down, it just like comfort fucking washes over you. Yeah, it is the most relaxed you've ever been. You will all easily find sleep, get your long rest in, wake in the morning, and to all of your perplexion, file out of the same single door on the wall, one after another. Never having seen anybody else in the room you had to yourself. Make your way to the kitchen, have some breakfast, enjoy a morning in the gatekeeper's warm and hospitable abode. And yeah, is there anything y'all want to do before y'all break away and head home? Okay.
Would it be faster to use the weight light, the way light? There it is. Or would that take about the same amount of time?
Well, it would be faster for you. I can't guarantee it would not be slower for the rest of the world, if that makes sense.
I see.
There is only so much one can do to assuage the fuzziness of the border.
We are on a little bit of a clock. We have to go clear out some spiders or something.
So today would be the 35th. I will say you would know that the soonest the mine would probably be safe, based off your previous conversations with Torleen and the other miners, would be somewhere between like 3 to 4 days from now.
Oh.
So if you were to walk through the forest, it's like a day and a half at the pace you got here, right?
Yeah.
Still have a couple days to kill after you get back.
I mean, we are going to have to deal with the fallout of the whole Adlar came with us against the will of the council, and the whole Doto is kind of screwed thing. But I leave it to the party, I suppose.
About that.
Oh, right. You had an announcement
the
or something.
gatekeeper, I had the thing I wanted to look into last night. I don't know that this will solve Doto's problem, but it might be better for him to cope with than what he's doing right now. She will hand you a small jar. Inside the jar, you will see a number of brightly colored, like red, almost coral colored, cherry looking fruits.
Oh. Candy.
I would advise against partaking unless you are in dire need of calm and peace of mind. They can be a little overwhelming.
Ah, those kind of candies. I see. I will keep them safe.
I think they might be better put to use with dear Dodo. For now.
Well, as always, appreciated. And I leave it to the party. Do we want to take the road we know the perils of? Or do we want to try to, I guess, go a little faster through the Fey Forest?
I think we should test out the new Fey thing.
It would be nice to know how it works in a more controlled situation.
Yeah.
Now would be the time.
Sure. So the gatekeeper will, for your benefit, repeat, the mechanics of the waylight here. So, inside the bottle, there is a Fey spirit. If you open the bottle while you are in the relative vicinity of an old venerable forest, the spirit inside will be able to guide you through this forest to an unearthly road, over which you will be able to cross virtually any distance within a day's travel, and use that road to reach a destination forest somewhere in the world. A forest that you need to be familiar with. So as long as you stay on the road, the light will guide you all the way to the finish line. No issues. Stepping off the road, the light will vanish. Once you reach your destination, the light will vanish. After vanishing, the waylight cannot be used again for
Kitten.
for 7 days, 1 week, our time. So don't step off the road. And you'll be fine. And mechanically, I can send this whole thing to David since he is the bearer currently, but while traveling along the road that this thing will guide you along, 1d6 days will pass in the material plane.
So there's a reasonable chance we'll get back in time.
David, I will send this to you. Direct message. Where's your face? There's your face.
Face. Don't make me use it.
Well, I say we give it a shot, right? This is the time.
I agree. Oh, how much gold and silver was on the
Okay. 200 silver pieces and 30 gold pieces.
Well, that divides up nicely.
Those things divide up nicely with 5.
I think that effectively comes out to like
6 gold each. And 40 silver each.
Cool.
so 10 gold each, basically.
And gold each, you said?
Plus a handful of magic items and a spooky scroll case.
Yes. I have the scroll case. Well, given we don't actually know the whole 1d6 mechanical aspect of this, I'd say we're going to try out the waylight and hope that we don't end up being late.
I can't remember if you said it doesn't require attunement, does it?
It does not require attunement, no.
Alright. Nice.
It will respond to the bearer of the waylight bottle. So don't lose it.
I don't want to lose it.
Don't lose it. So,
Seems nice.
Opening the bottle, instantly this tiny jingling light ding, 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 pops out and hovers in front of you, pulsing gently. Where would you like it to take you?
What was the plan? Just to the border, or does this just a test spin?
Well, presumably this could get us back to Gladym in a day if we just pick the forest outside of Gladym. Is that right?
Yeah.
Because we've explored those because we hunted the goblins.
Yeah. You've explored that forest. You've walked through it to, get to this side road that led you here. Like, you're familiar. So yeah, sure. You say that, and the light will jingle in confirmation, and then begin to veer out of the stone circle towards the edge of the forest, not to the stone road that led you here, but just off to the fucking left, veering east.
Well, I guess we'll go.
All right.
Let's.
As you depart, the gatekeeper will give you one final wave farewell before turning back and disappearing into her cave. And you, plunging into the brush, following this light, continue onward, following each other closely. As you go, over the next 10 to 20 minutes, there's a shift underfoot. You feel the dense, thick jungle foliage beginning to thin out. You feel the ground growing more even, more solid, less marshy. Soon, you are walking along a pretty clean little forest trail. Just a dirt road cutting between trees. Looking around, you are struck by the vividness of this section of the forest. The greens in the leaves are stunning. The portions of sky you can see visible overhead are the most glorious blue you've ever seen, and hanging in the air, hardly perceptible when you focus on them, but constantly in your peripheral vision, this constant sparkling, these tiny motes of light dancing just outside the edge of your focus. You definitely feel you are not in feral anymore. And looking off to either side of this path, you can see dense, dark forest.
Oh, this takes me back, and not in a good way.
The little jingling light continues to weave its way steadily forward along this path, and following it, you pass hour after hour after hour. Here and there in the distance, you see shifting. You see enormous mushrooms growing amidst the trees. You see a herd of bright red deer go bounding through a clearing far off in the distance, illuminated by bright golden beams of sunlight that sort of trails behind them like a dust cloud that they pass through. This place is beautiful, wondrous, mysterious. But in other places, very dark. There are hours that pass over the course of this journey where the forest seems to close in tight all around you. The sunlight overhead vanishes, and this oppressive gloom hangs over your heads. The only light emitted from that tiny dancing spirit winding its way through the trees ahead of you. Hours pass. You
Do we
step
get
into
peckish as hours pass?
Yeah, you would get hungry. You'd need to stop and grab some food out of your packs and stuff.
Does the inkling tinkling like gumbo?
It does not seem to react. When you stop walking, it will carry on for a moment more until it realizes you're not following, and then just stop and hang in the middle of the road.
What do we...
Doesn't look like it wants to say, hey, listen. Does it?
Maybe more like, hey,
Inside check, Barnaby.
What do we do if one of us has to go to the bathroom?
look, be subtle.
The dancing spirit has no answers for you.
That's a 6 minus 1.
6
You know,
minus
Five.
1.
Just embrace it.
5.
It's just a tiny glowing light, Barnaby. You can't discern any sort of expression on this thing.
I feel like it's trying to say something, but I can't understand it.
You imagine it would if it could.
Hey, Platt.
Hmm.
Guess who has another 24?
Oh, shit. 24 on insight, then? Sure, yeah.
Hooray, plus 5!
The way this thing behaves, Burberry, I think over the course of this trek, you begin to suspect this spirit is not like a person or even like a full being. This thing just sort of like responds to commands, and it does as it was described it would do, but it doesn't really react to
Her
much
modern,
else.
Her modern descriptions, would it be more like GPS?
It was described to you as a spirit, but it strikes you that perhaps this usage of the word is maybe not basic enough. This is like a concentrated mote of just fey-ness. It's not even like a concrete thing.
Gotcha.
More magic than personage here.
There's intent, but there's no actual will behind it.
Yeah, the will is prescribed. So yeah, that I think is what you would glean with the 24. And yeah, whenever you guys stop, it'll stop after a moment more. Just constantly keeping ahead of you, continuing to lead you along this path. Barnaby, I will say, go ahead and give me a D6 roll.
Five.
Cool. So,
It's fun.
We're late.
We're real late. Hey, at least the mine's cleared out now. So.
The spiders return.
when you emerge from the edge of the forest, it comes suddenly. One moment, you guys are deep, thick in the Feywild forest, and the second there is a break in the trees, and suddenly it is an open grassy field, a fenced paddock of wheat and carrots and potatoes, small houses, thatched roofs, a town, a blue sky studded with clouds. You're back at the edge of Gladham.
Wow.
The light is nowhere to be seen, and judging from the position of the sky, the sun in the sky, very, very low on the horizon. It looks like morning.
This is really gonna mess with my sleep schedule.
Girl, you have no idea.
You there? What day is it? As we see
Also,
as some
what year
woman
is
walking,
it?
some like a small child.
You point at a small elvish child, and he responds in elvish. It's the weekend.
Also, what year is it?
Our year or your year? I don't know your year.
Our year.
I'll ask my mom. He'll leave and come back. This woman comes out with following this child. She's like, "Oh, visitors from Boranorn?
What day
she will
is
say.
it? What's the date?
It's the 40th of the month.
Oh,
Inanama.
shit.
What?
No, there's a child.
Sorry. I swore in common.
No. What's wrong with the 40th?
And Elvish, the little boy's like, "Mommy, was that a swear?" She's like, "Shush, boy."
Oh wait, did we need to be back on the 40th? Is that what we learned?
So you would remember from talking with the miners that like the 37th or the 38th was like probably the beginning of a safe period to start looking at the mines again.
So we're a little behind
But
schedule.
You didn't have like a due date. You weren't really like on a clock or anything like that.
It's the morning? Okay.
Like,
When do we
need to see
sleep
Elder
next?
Church, right?
Figure it out.
Like, we need to go see the elders, and then we take a long rest. Or wait, no, we just finished a long rest. didn't we?
We just walked for 8 hours. So we're probably kind of tired.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably longer than an 8-hour walk because you guys would stop and eat and bathroom breaks and catch your breath and da-da-da. So it's probably like
Can we
10
avoid
to 12
exhaustion
hours
if
of
we-
travel.
Can we avoid exhaustion if we take a short break?
I would say you could put it off. Yeah. I will eventually, over the course of this day, probably ask for con saves, but you're in you're in a pretty safe position right now. Like I doubt it'll be a huge.
Given that we left Gladham in the morning, at this time of day, given the position of the sun, would we know if the elders would even be there right now? Because we had to wait last time.
You guys got there really early in the morning. Like the sun was just rising when you met with them. The sun is up. The sky is turning like solid blue. It's like mid-morning right now, like 9 o'clock ish, somewhere in there.
I mean, I think
safe bet.
Easiest thing on the docket is elders.
Cool. All right. As you guys begin making your way toward the elder house. Barnaby.
Yes.
You didn't bring it up before the trip because you weren't 100% sure what to make of it. Because it was weird. But last night, you had a dream. You were chasing someone. Or something. You were pretty sure this motherfucker was the one who took your finger. You were running. You were constantly running. You were passing by tree after tree after tree, deeper and deeper and deeper into this forest. It was getting dark out, but you were still determined to find this one. You had the trail. You knew they were up ahead. And you looked down at your hands, at the missing finger on each hand. And you look up, and you see them. This figure, this cloaked, hooded figure, running, doggedly, trying as hard as they can to get away from you, but you're gaining. Eventually, they're within grasp. You reach out, take hold of the shoulder, and you spin the figure around, ready to confront them. And the only thing in that cloak, staring back at you from under the hood, was an enormous, fleshy, red fingertip. And then you woke up.
Son of a biscuit.
It was weird.
Your finger stole itself.
In the dream, you were missing 2 fingers. And thinking back on it, maybe you were chasing the one who stole the second one. It was weird. It was a dumb, stupid, weird dream. Like, not really worth bringing up. But as you're making your way back into Gladham, you kind of throw one last look over your shoulder at the forest. Just, cool, this waylight, this actually worked. And your heart stops. Standing at the edge of the forest, barely visible under the shadows of the branches overhead, there was a figure standing there. They are wearing the same exact blue cloak that you saw last night. And you blink, and they're gone.
Oh, no, you don't.
It's Willem Grimes.
I'm hot on the trail now.
So, I think we're going to leave off there and call that a session, guys. We're back in Gladham. Good job. Y'all killed a hag. Good job.
We did.
You guys hit level 5. Congratulations.
That's a big one. Yay!
Oh my goodness.
You finished a big old quest. So yeah, that's a thing that we can do now or later or whatever. If you want to roll hit points,
Sure.
We can do that now.
I'm taking Bard.
Woo!
I gotta go. I have work at 8 this next morning.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Y'all have a good night. Good session.
We will talk
Nah.
later. We still need to talk about your thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, we can do all your level up stuff then too. Cool.
Okay, cool.
Cool. All right. Good night, Kat.
Have a good one.
You too.
Oh, social point thing.
Oh, right. So before we do level stuff, MVP.
Burby.
Because
Because Zone of Truth
Burb.
was cool, and you have
Furby.
a million. I vote for a Furby. And you have a million Fey ideas that worked out, or that were kind of interesting. So
yeah,
I'll
I
throw my
agree.
vote there.
Zone of Truth definitely helped.
Thanks. Yeah, but one of my last campaigns, Asmodeus was our big bad. So it's really easy for me to come up with ways to screw myself.
Someday we'll put that to use.
Just give me like
As a
a
terrible-
day and a 2-page sheet. I'll be good.
Dope. All right. Anybody else? Burberry, Aloran, John.
I
Any
want to
inputs?
vote for Noelle, since Noelle was the one that did the actual like intimidating.
That's true. She did do some good intimidation.
That was fun.
Fuck Furby. Noelle's the winner. Yeah, Lauren, John, anything?
I said
John voted it Burberry.
Oh, what did Lauren say?
Burberry.
Burberry. All right, Burberry.
Burberry gets inspiration.
You're so quiet without your headphones. I'm sorry.
I already have it. Can I pass it to someone else?
Yes.
Is
Who
anyone-
doesn't have
I got
inspiration?
inspiration.
I
I
don't.
do not.
Most of us don't.
Take my
I'm holding
inspiration,
on to mine.
Noel. You got.
It's
my
like I
recommendation.
wanted.
Hey. Okay, support points. Y'all were RPing with each other. Y'all were RPing with my NPCs, which I appreciate. I don't know.
Lauren should get one with Barnaby, cause she was comforting when he was having a bad time.
Was that
That's
Adlar?
That was Adlar, I'm pretty sure.
No,
Damn it, that was an NPC again.
No, you put your hand on his shoulder.
That was
'Cause you
Adlar.
both fight,
That
and
was
it was. Oh wait, did I get my?
That was Adlar.
Oh,
He
sorry.
got teary eyed, and she patted him on the back.
Oh, I got myself mixed up because I remember we had the conversation with Barnaby afterwards.
Do I get one for questioning Barnaby's sanity?
He wasn't present, so no.
No, yeah, that's fair.
I'm willing to call this one an NPC session. Honestly,
Yeah,
this
that's
is really
fine.
not like a party thing. All right, bye, John.
Bye.
But it was a good session. Y'all did do good RPs.
Do you want to just roll hit points at the start of the next session instead?
Yeah. I guess we could do that.